Hey boys and girls, Mr. Rogan here. Invited my good friend Lucy to come and watch us as today we learn about the use of parentheses. And notice it says review the use of parentheses because this is a concept you covered back in 4th grade. In order to complete today's lesson, I'm going to ask that you make sure you have a pencil and a piece of paper. So go get those items right now before we continue. Now, parentheses in a number sentence is really part of a larger concept called order of operations. The order of operations is a way to remember there were two different, an acronym called PEMDAS, or there was a saying, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Now, the P stands for parentheses, which is what we're covering today and which you learned about last year. We always do the work inside the parentheses first. Next, if there's exponents, we would do those. Now, reading number sentences is just like reading sentences. You go from left to right. And although it says multiplication before division, if you saw division to the left first, and then multiplication, you would do division first. So they basically have the same weight, it just depends which comes first in a number sentence. However, multiplication and division have more weight than addition or subtraction. Addition or subtraction, again, if subtraction came first before addition, you would do that first. Okay? So let's continue. As we learned last year, parentheses tell us to do the operations inside of them first within a number sentence. Here's where I need you to have your pencil and paper ready. I've got an example of a number sentence. 6 times 4 minus 2 divided by 2. Could you please tell me what are some answers, or write down some answers you could get from the following number sentence? Pause the video at this time to write down your answers. If I look at this number sentence and read it just like a sentence in a book, I go from left to right. 6 times 4, well, that would give me 24 minus 2, that would give me 22, divided by 2, one possible answer I could get from 11. If I've been listening to what was said based on the order of operations, I would do 6 times 4 first, that would give me 24. Then I would do 2 divided by 2, which would give me 1. Then I would go 24 minus 1, and another possible answer I could have is 23. As you can see, without parentheses, it's difficult to come up with the same or correct answer. Continue to have your pencil and paper ready, as I'm going to give you 3 number sentences. I need you to write down what the number sentences would be so that I'd have the correct answer. In order to have the correct answer, you have to insert or put in a parentheses somewhere in the number sentence. Let's start with example number 1. Add 8 and 3, and then multiply it by 5. Let's go on to example number 2. For example number 2, could you first find the product of 10 and 8 and then minus 7? please write the number sentence. Finally, I'm going to give you a story. Please write down the number sentence from this story. Tom had 4 bottles of juice. He went shopping and bought 3 6-packs of juice. How many bottles of juice does he have now? Let's go over our answers and see if we had the correct number sentences, including the parentheses. For number 1, you should have had 8 plus 3 in parentheses and then times 5. Check your answer. For number 2, you should have had in parentheses 10 times 8 minus 7. Finally, for number 3, for the number story, you should have had 4 plus, in parentheses, 3 times 6. That would give us a total of 22. Our answer for the second one, 10 times 8, 80. Minus the 7 is 73. For number 1, we do the parentheses first. 8 plus 3 equals 11. 11 times 5 is 55. Now that you know the basics of doing the work inside a pair of parentheses first to then find the solution to a number sentence, let's move on to the next concept related to parentheses. Sometimes you are given number sentences, as you see here in numbers 1, 2, and 3. Do you still have that piece of paper and pencil? Because you'll need it. What I'd like you to do for these 3 number sentences is put in parentheses so that you get the answer that they ask for. Example in number 1. Where would the parentheses or more than one pair of parentheses go to get the answer for 8? Number 2, where would the parentheses or more than one pair of parentheses go to get the answer of 4? Where would they go in number 3 to get the answer for 8? I'm going to pause right now and have you take your time, write the problems out or the number sentences out, and insert the parentheses or more than one pair of parentheses to get the solution shown. All right, let's take a look at number 1. In number 1, you should have had 2 sets of parentheses. You should have had one around 9 minus 5, and you should add another pair around 2 times 2. Now it doesn't matter which set of parentheses you would do first. 9 minus 5 is 4. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 does equal 8. Now, in number 2, little bit different. You only needed to have one set of parentheses. Boys and girls seem to think that when they put a parentheses in, it could only be around 2 numbers. In number 2, the parentheses should have been around the number 6 and the number 1. Because 6 plus 3, 9, minus 1 is 8. Then 8 divided by 2 would give us 4. In number 3, you only needed one set of parentheses. You need to notice that was an exponent. 7 to the second power, or 7 squared, is 49. 49 minus 9 is 40. 40 divided by 5 will give you 8. Let's move on. Building upon our knowledge from the last slide of having more than one pair of parentheses, sometimes, boys and girls, you need to have a pair of parentheses with inside a pair of parentheses so you know what you should do first. When you have something like this, it is called nested parentheses. Let's look at our example. 7 is equal to 4 times 3 divided by 2 plus 1. Now the parentheses that you should have, first off, you should have one set around 4 times 3 divided by 2. However, what you need to do next is you need to have parentheses around the 4 times 3. Because 4 times 3 is 12. Then 12 divided by 2 gives us an answer of 6. 6 plus 1 gives us our answer of 7. Let's move on. As you can see from this slide, we're going to tie the two concepts together. Have your pencil and paper ready again. In these two problems or number sentences, what I'd like you to do is insert a pair of parentheses. You may put them anywhere you would like, but wherever you put them in, please write down the solution or solutions you came up with. I'm going to pause the video right now and let you work on your problems. Well, let's go over our answers and see how you did. Obviously, in both problems, there's only two different places where you can put the parentheses. In number 1, if you go 8 times 6, that'll give you 48. 48 minus 40 or minus 5 is 43. So there's one possible answer. Let's erase that and see where the other spot was where we could have had the parentheses. You could have also put them around 6 minus 5, which would give us 1. Reading the problem then from left to right, we get 8 times 1 equals 8. Let's look at number 2. The first spot where you could have put the parentheses is around the 9 plus 9. That gives us 18. Now that we have done the work inside the parentheses first, let's go left to right. 18 divided by 3 would have given us an answer of 6. Let's erase that and put the parentheses in the other location. In the other location, the parentheses could have been put around 9 divided by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. Now that we did the work inside the parentheses first, let's go from left to right. 9 plus 3 gives us an answer of 12. So boys and girls, today we reviewed how parentheses are used in a number sentence. Parentheses are the first part in understanding the order of operations. To give you an additional opportunity to understand this concept, I'd like you to log into your Discovery Education account and complete the assignment called Order of Operations. If you forget your login, that information is on a label on the inside cover of your assignment notebook.